Welcome to Stropharia Productions' first podcast. Today our guest is Matt. Let's get right into it. Hope you guys enjoy.
I love what you're doing with this thing because me being a guy who's in recovery and coming from a world where it's looked down upon, it's looked as a gateway drug, all these types of things, it's kind of, and then to even be, I know family that looks at marijuana like it's evil, okay? And yeah, it might have been where a lot of people started off their drug using and all that type of stuff, and then it brought them to worse areas of life. But to say that, to bastardize it and say that it's such a gateway drug and all this, that's over time what these people have put into the minds of everyone, and it scares a lot of people. But the truth is that it does have a lot of medicinal purposes, and just from the footage that I've seen of the documentary so far, it blows me away how much it's changed Joe's life in just the short amount of time that I've seen.
Yeah, because like when we very first started shooting Joe, in one of the first scenes of it, when he's talking about his medication, the amount of, I don't know exactly how to say it, but like his tremors of how he would move his arms around while he's talking and stuff. From that first day of filming to like just filming the other day, like even just the handshake is nowhere near what that looked like.
Right.
And like he was really throwing his arms around on that first one, where he was just picking up audio was kind of an issue.
It was almost uncomfortable to watch. You know, to watch it, it hurts. It's like it really hits my emotions when I see the footage of him before the treatment and him, yeah, like you said, like slapping the mic and.
Right.
But what blows me away and what I wanted to ask you guys was, so he doesn't even notice that change, right? Now, isn't that crazy that it's calmed him down that much to where he's not flailing his arm? You said when he walks, he would shuffle, and now he walks normal. Mm-hmm. And then you ask him if he sees the change or if he notices the change. He doesn't even notice it.
The way he explains it to me is like you're looking from the outside looking at him go through those changes. For him to be on the inside feeling it from the inside looking outwards, he's not necessarily seeing the arm flaring stopping. Now he is saying he's sleeping a lot better, which is fantastic because Joe's whole life he's never slept 8 hours straight, and I just think that's insane to think.
That's a feat in itself.
Your whole life before Parkinson's and everything else, not sleeping more than a few hours a night. Like, to me, that's crazy to see within the first 2 days of him starting his indica at night.
Right.
He's sleeping 6 to 8 hours a night.
Well, like I was never really, honestly, on board with medical marijuana throughout the years from all the different states legalizing it, because I always just kind of looked at it as a legalized excuse to get high, the same way that alcohol is a legalized excuse to get drunk. But when my mother-in-law had cancer, and watching her die from cancer, and when she started the medical marijuana treatment when it became legal here in Florida, just being able to interact with the kids was tremendously different. Sleep was tremendously different, and it cut her painkillers in half. And like where she would have the muscle issues where her legs would like jam up to where like she couldn't walk. The pills that they gave her for that didn't really cut it. But then a couple drops of indica or even sativa, just raw THC underneath her tongue, you could actually see like the veins and muscles popping out of her legs just quickly go away, and then she was able to walk and play with the kids in the pool and stuff. Like it helped make that exit a lot more comfortable for her. And seeing that just drastic change in her overall well-being and just her actions and her mood instantly put me on board that, okay, maybe this isn't something to just, I have my card so I can get high. You know what I mean? That from a medical standpoint, you can. And I mean, yeah, you're always going to have people that abuse stuff. The fucking opioid epidemic that we have in the United States,
well, there's always gonna be those people. There's always gonna be those people like those. They're gonna be like, oh, those stoners playing hacky sack. You know what I'm saying? Like those tree huggers. Like, but that's not the case. But you're still gonna have those groups of people abusing.
And you're still
whatever.
gonna have hacky sack.
Oh yeah,
You're still gonna have those guys that just want to get
Or
high.
what's that other one?
I mean, there's gonna be those guys too.
What's that frisbee game they play? I used to play that game.
I don't know what
Ultimate Frisbee.
Yeah.
But in the end, though, like medically, there is a lot of different benefits to that, and being able to watch that firsthand is the reason why I was so on board with Joe wanting to do a documentary on his Parkinson's treatment.
Especially
And just
with,
from what I've watched from the first day that I came over there for filming to the last day I've been there, like the crazy. Just when he talks to you, or when he's just sitting there talking to the camera, and just the hand movements and the lack of just rapid movement constantly, I mean, obviously it does help to some type of extent. You know what I mean?
Well, and the fact that the man's sleeping more. I
Yeah.
mean, sleep is huge to your health, right?
Right.
I mean,
Of
it's
course.
like one of the major parts of your whole
course.
well-being. It affects your appetite. It affects your energy. It affects so many bowels. It affects I mean, that's what I've heard. I'm not a doctor in any way or a professional at all, so I'm probably gonna say a lot of dumb stuff.
Dr.
But
Mac,
just
man,
my
forget it.
opinions. But I think that like sleep, man, the fact that he's sleeping more is huge, especially for someone at his age and with the struggle of having Parkinson's. The fact that he could sleep more, that right there is going to help him tremendously. Now you could say, oh yeah, but sleeping pills can help with that too. Yeah, but I also know people who take sleeping pills, and if they don't have them, they can't sleep. You know, it's the natural way is definitely the safer way to go.
And
in my
medical
opinion,
marijuana is
especially
not
with something.
curing anything. You know what
Right.
I mean? It's just a way to help the patient with whatever reasoning that they are taking it. It's just to help them become more comfortable in whatever the situation is, whether it's a social anxiety situation, a PTSD situation, or somebody with cancer or Parkinson's or something. Like, it's just to help them be able to cope with their disease or their problems or whatever, in order to have more of a normal life that they can have with the elements.
and that was a reason behind why we're doing this as well, because
it's not
like,
really pro medical marijuana, and it's not really like anti medical marijuana. It's just, here is a patient and
Who
his
grew
personal journey with medical marijuana, especially coming from a standpoint of someone who never got high before
and grew up
looked
with
at
that
it.
stigma of
Right.
marijuana,
Right.
like
That's-
no good,
Right.
like war on
Marijuana and
drugs.
heroin's the same thing.
Do not,
Yeah.
do not smoke this because you'll go crazy and
Right. Right.
X, Y, and Z happen.
Yeah,
You know what I
right,
mean?
right.
Like that to me is crazy, and that's what took so long for
Yeah.
our family to get Joe to even consider.
Mhm.
And then he even says it at one point that he's at that point now where he'll try anything to live somewhat of a normal life and functioning.
And that's like where my mother-in-law was at.
Yeah.
She wasn't, smoking doobies in the 70s. You know
No.
what I mean? She was very much a professional nurse, very religious and everything of that aspect. But when you're on your way out and you're just trying to be comfortable and be able to spend time with family, to sit at the table and to have conversations and not be nodding out because of your pain pills or, all the stuff that they shove down your throat. Like that in itself, like, that's kind of what it's all about. Now, it'll always be taken out of context. It'll always be played out a little differently with different people, and everybody's a little different. But in the end, it very well could help out that family get through that struggle. Where if you didn't have it, what do you have? When it's something that is natural, it's not chemicals made in big pharma's factories that has such an addictive tendency to it that I could imagine being 70 years old and coming off my pain meds.
Yeah.
Because I was done taking them or whatever. Like, that shock alone could kill someone, where weed is not addictive, nor is it, you don't detox off of marijuana like you would detox off an opioid.
Correct.
And I know you're not talking about the documentary being like pro or against or anything like that, but that's why I brought up the stigma thing right away, a while ago, is because that's the interesting part of what you're doing, because this is a man who didn't want to even
Correct.
think about using marijuana as a medicine.
Right.
Because he never even wanted marijuana in his life. He thought it was always wrong and bad. And
And I mean, it took time for Joe to even come around to the concept of even going and talking to someone about trying this treatment, if you will, in order to try to help himself out. Like, it was a lot of time talking to him before he was finally like, okay, I'm just gonna talk to somebody,
maybe
check
you
it
should
out.
try this. Maybe you should.
And then
check
even
this out.
like once he went through that process of getting his medical marijuana card, it was still a good probably week before he even started it, because he was still that unsure if he wanted to actually cross that bridge out of fear of the stigma that was wrapped around medical marijuana. Now that it's been 2 weeks now of using it medically, he may not see a difference in himself because you don't see yourself that way. But from an outside perspective, like, it is working. Your tremors are less, and you're sleeping at night. So like, it's obviously heading in the right direction. It's not going to heal his Parkinson's. It's it's not a miracle drug. It's just an additive to your life to try to help the situations out. And by slowing down the tremors and everything, when he goes out to have coffee with somebody, he won't feel as embarrassed in public because he's shaking so bad that he can't
back to the mental health.
eat it, cut his bagel. You know, people have to cut his food for him. And I had dinner with him a Sunday ago, and he was able to like cut his own piece of meat. And that first time we had dinner after shooting, he wasn't cutting his meat.
Yeah.
Like, that was not going to be a thing that he was going to be able to pull off.
Right.
So where he is currently at on his feeling of how well it's working, everybody has their own personal perspective of it. But just my perspective of what I see every day filming him.
He'll eventually start to notice that sooner or later, especially the fact that he can cut his own meat. Right?
I'm interested. We did a
in
shaving video the other day, and he was able to like shave himself.
Yeah.
I'm interested on, I think it's this Thursday coming up, starting week 3, is introducing the hybrid pills, the sativa and indica blend.
Yeah.
And I think they're 10 milligrams a piece, and he's supposed to take 2 to 4 caps of it, capsules a day. And I'm interested on seeing his energy level spiking during the day, because he's still a little groggy-ish during the day, which is normal with Parkinson's patients. They take naps, it's either from the medication or, that's a lot of energy that you're projecting off your body and not being able to control it. So I'm really interested on seeing if those capsules actually help him stay awake more during the day and be able to like do other things, like go out, go shopping, or start doing his exercise classes more that he hasn't been doing because he's been so tired. I'm really interested on seeing what that's about to take on it.
Definitely. And please feel free to comment below, your take on how you personally feel about medical marijuana. And maybe there's an experience in your life where you saw it help, or you noticed it help somebody, or maybe this is just making you angry. Let me know. I'd be interested to know what, everybody has their own version of what they believe in, and from religious beliefs to just political beliefs, that alters your perception of what you actually feel about it. So, definitely feel free to comment below and let us know, how you personally feel about medical marijuana as well, and what we're doing even with trying to get that word out there of how this could be benefiting someone, and maybe someone in your life could benefit it from as well. And if it's legal in that state currently, maybe it's something you should look into.
I don't hear about it hurting people that much. You know what I mean?
It's just weed, man.
Yeah, I mean, because I don't hear about anybody getting hurt over it. I mean, maybe they got a weight problem because they eat too much or something like that.
Well, that was the thing with Joe, and he was like, well, how am I going to feel on it? What's it going to make me do? And I'm like, Joe, honestly, you'll probably sleep better, and you'll get the munchies, dude.
Right.
Like, that's it. Like, you're going to eat.
Better,
Like, what are the side effects of marijuana? You eat. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
munchies.
Like, what do you really... You don't hear people, like, going around shooting people or stabbing people. Like,
no.
If I forget what comedian it was, but it was... If I had to pick an alcohol party or a marijuana party, which would I go to?
Right.
And he's like, all the alcohol parties, someone's going to be throwing up on you, puking in the bathroom, fighting. And a marijuana party, what are they doing? Eating around... Eating snacks on the couch, doing nothing. I forget how the joke goes.
I don't know who did that
If you're
bit.
70 years old and you were raised in that time period of that negative stigma that like weed and heroin's the same thing, like
Which makes no sense.
you could be afraid of getting high You know what I mean? What is this actually going to do to me? Like, you're not eating LSD and you're going to trip. You're just smoking a little bit of weed
Yeah. And
or
it's crazy
liquid form of
talking to
whatever.
that generation because like a lot of these people don't even know why marijuana is illegal. Like they
Right.
don't get it. Like
Right.
what happened.
It's
And
just that stigma.
to me, it makes no sense on why it was criminalized in the first place.
You know what I mean?
If anybody says that, marijuana and heroin are the same thing,
Well, that's
as
what
soon
it's-
as they say that to me, I'm going to be like, I don't want to talk
Yeah,
to you.
no.
You don't
But
have
that's
any
how,
idea what you're
but
talking
that's how
about.
it's scheduled, which
No,
makes no sense to me. What's
Well, yeah, I mean, if you do the
Yeah.
deep dive on the history of why marijuana is illegal, but I think that the stigma of it is what's crazy. Because like even a guy like Joe, who's been around for how old is Joe?
69.
69 years, and doesn't even believe. Because it's 69 years. He knows people who have smoked
Oh, of
marijuana,
course.
and he's heard people that tell him,
Right.
dude, nothing happens, but you get the munchies and you feel good.
Yeah.
And even now today, he still doesn't believe it. He's asking
Right.
you what the effects are. You know what I mean? Like that.
Well, with that heavy
The way we get programmed into thinking that.
Well, even at 35, being raised in a Christian family, like the thought of being on medical marijuana, is, but I can take Xanax for depression or whatever, and like that's okay, because political and religious beliefs definitely alter your perception
Yeah.
of what truth can actually be, because you're kind of being small-minded at that point of not keeping an open mind of different possibilities, because when marijuana came out, I guess you could put it that way, it was a drug. And then now that it's medically used, it still has that stigma of being a drug, where when your prescription medication came out, it came out as a prescription, so it wasn't really a drug, and half the prescriptions are used as drugs.
Yeah, people are afraid of what they don't know. People who have never tried it just don't understand it, and that's what makes people afraid of things.
Yeah, no, definitely.
So I mean, that's where that comes from. But it's like you said, it's a stigma, something that we've been taught for so long. It's in different groups. So
Different
you in a
scenarios.
Christian family, or Joe growing up the way he did, and and being reluctant to even try something that might be able to completely help his quality of
And
life.
it may not be for everybody. You may have a Parkinson patient or a cancer patient or whatever the case may be, and maybe it didn't actually help you the same way that it helped somebody else.
Yeah.
But
But he's also
all
not just-
medication kind of affects you that way and affects people differently.
Right.
So all I'm saying is, why not give a newer version of a natural medication to help you out without all the crazy side effects of. When he was going through the side effects of his medication, it's like, okay, so it's helping you with this,
Yeah, but the
or it's
doctor's
supposed to
giving it
be,
to
it's supposed to be helping you with this, or what have you.
Yeah.
But you have all these side effects, and it's like living with those side effects alone. I'm not really for sure which is worse. Like take this for your headache, but you could be constipated for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
I don't know. I gotta live with the headache.
Right.
Drink some extra water.
But it's not just the marijuana he's taking. I mean, he does CBD during the day,
Right.
which is a whole other
conversation
to go into, because CBD is also frowned upon in some areas of culture as well.
Yep.
Not just, they're selling it at gas stations and convenience stores, but like, what's the medical side of CBD with this treatment? And that's what they explained to Joe. It's not just, okay, you're gonna take drops of marijuana or smoke it, but during the day you have to do CBD in order to get that balance correct.
Right.
What? Really? I mean, there's no CBD in regular marijuana, in the regular marijuana that he's taking? Or
There is, but like the CBD has, I think the one that he takes is like 0.1% CBD. But then you go, when he does the indica at night, it's indica, I don't remember the percentage, and then it also has some CBD in it.
Okay. So all the, I guess I should have done some more research on that before I came here, but I don't really understand the differences between the THC and the CBD. Like when you talk about how he needs both, like I thought CBD was in regular marijuana, but they extracted CBD just so you didn't.
Well, yes.
So to make it legal to be sold all
Because
over.
it doesn't have the
Psychoactive effect.
You're not going to get high from CBD per se. where THC is going to make you high.
Yeah.
But sometimes you need the THC, like, it gets you high, but it also affects your body and your receptors differently as well. So, where like I've used CBD as a cream from like working out and having sore muscles, and like that even kind of helps like an icy hot type situation.
Okay.
To where it actually relieves, like muscle
I believe
pressure
it.
and stuff
I know
like that.
someone who.
So it's crazy
Yeah.
how like the different ways that you can use the plant to achieve different things depending on the situation,
Right.
like of what all that can kind of look like.
I know someone who's used CBD for migraines and back pain and those sorts of things. And when she took it, it immediately made her feel better. Made her migraines go away. She said her muscles felt more relaxed, and she felt like she didn't feel the pain in her lower back and things like that. And I thought it was like a placebo thing, but I never took it, so I can't tell. But when she told me that, I was like, well, maybe there is something to it. And,
well, you get CBD and THC, with medical marijuana, because they're both medical marijuana. You know what I mean? And they give you for like for pain management, you can use instead of having.
I've taken CBD gummies for sleep.
Yeah.
Eat a couple of them, 20, 30 minutes before bed, and it's supposed to help ease into you falling asleep and staying asleep.
I mean, I've tried it. I have. I took a tincture, and I think I vaped it before. But like I said, I think I only did it once, and I think you need to do it over a prolonged amount of time to actually get the effects of what it can do. But she took a pretty high dose of CBD over like a month, and she said she definitely felt better. It wasn't like just over. I might have said it was right away, but within a month, stuff started to change.
So that's basically where we're at with the filming of the holistic concept and just kind of what that documentary looks like. And hopefully some of the stuff that we talked about today kind of made you think about where you actually stand on medical marijuana. That's kind of where we're at with the filming of it. Hopefully, probably in a couple more weeks, we should have something out. We definitely will have another trailer coming out at the end of this week, the first of next week, just to kind of give you more of a little tease of what's going on with it. So really, I think that's about it. So
thanks, Matt, for coming out and joining us.
It's always a pleasure to hang out and have some time to
enjoyed it.
To yell at each other for a little bit, I guess. So don't forget to subscribe to our videos. Please comment below, and thank you very much.